To be honest, there is nothing prelims worth in the last few days of newspapers, but we'll keep an eye on what kind of topics are happening so that it might help you in some other way. So, as all of you know, the Chinese finance minister is in India. Minister in India. So that is a interesting development that we have to keep an eye on. Okay. So what is happening in Pakistan, Bangladesh, these things actually don't matter. As what matters is why they are there. Okay. So if there is ever a mains question like is Indian Constitution working? Is Indian Constitution still relevant to 2022 or 21st century, so on and so forth? We can argue that if all we have to do is look at our neighbors, except India, probably no other country in our neighborhood has the same constitution that it started with. Right? So that clearly shows the strength of Indian constitution and the trust of people in the Indian democracy. Sri Lanka is going through a lot of problems. So it's hard to imagine India going through that kind of financial crisis. That also strengthens the argument that Indian financial basics are very strong. Okay. When it comes to Pakistan, everybody knows the joke, Rawalpindi and Islamabad. Okay. Islamabad is more of an administrative setup, whereas Rawalpindi is a real power center. So there is a tussle between military and administration. Okay, in India, that was never a discussion, right? The army always respected the elected rulers, no matter how wrong they were. Okay, so all this clearly point out why India is a strong democracy. Right. Next. So the general consent of CBI related prelims questions like is CBI a statutory body? Where does CBI derives its power from? These things, you know, Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946, it's not a statutory body, so on and so forth. So the major themes here are how CBI's consent is affecting the cooperative federalism. See, there are multiple topics in that particular thing. What happened in Bengal is a heinous crime. Okay, so all of you know, right? In Bengal, party workers of the same party were beaten and then burnt alive. It is a very worst heinous crime. So for that, High Court of Calcutta has given permission to the CBI. Normally, what happened? CBI's consent was withdrawn by West Bengal government, but still this is a fresh case. So that tells how consent is obtained. Either Supreme Court or High Court can have the power to give the primary consent. Now, two things when a political violence have happened, okay, the victims are from the same party of the ruling party. Okay, probably the culprits are also from the same political party. Then why do we have to bring CBI? Why can't we trust the local police? Okay, aren't you as a system accepting that law and order is more like a puppet in the hand of the rulers? West Bengal police are incapable of delivering impartial justice. That is the conclusion that we have come to. That is why we are inviting CBI. Yes? Yes or no?
Yes.
So that is a problem. That is a problem, right? And CBI is a puppet in the hands of central government. Then what difference are we making? So these kind of questions or analysis has to be developed. So if a question comes on how do we liberate the political executive and the law and order system or the police officers, is a very important thought process. Okay. So as I have said earlier, very few questions related to prelims. Majority of them are not even mains worthy. Okay. There is a lengthy explanatory article in Hindu few days ago about Mullar Periyar Dam. It is about Karnataka and Tamil Nadu related to which river? Kaveri River. So Mullar Periyar Dam is on Kaveri River.
It's Kerala.
Kerala. Mullar Periyar is Kerala. Sorry. Kerala. Yeah, Mullar Periyar is Kerala. Mekadatu is sorry, my bad. Mekadatu is between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. And you know how Rajya Sabha members are elected, right? How? Indirect elections. What do you mean by indirect elections? Who forms the electoral college of a Rajya Sabha member?
So that particular state's legislative assembly.
That's all. Legislative Council.
And municipal
All these people participate in Rajya Sabha elections.
legislative assembly, legislative council, and municipal councillors,
Municipal councillors also participate in Rajya Sabha elections.
electoral college.
These are the people in electoral college. Santosh, quality. Legislative council and not municipal. Municipal lera. Are you confused or are you damn sure? Okay, simple question. Who forms the electoral college of president?
All the state legislative assemblies.
MPs.
And also the elected members of the parliament.
Elected members of parliament or elected members of Lok Sabha?
Sir, elected members of parliament.
Parliament.
Nominated members are excluded.
All nominated members are excluded.
Yes,
Nominated members are president.
Mhm.
Who get nominated to Rajya Sabha,
elected
they
members
are
of
they are not included.
Mhm. Anyone else? Legislative councils,
They are not part
Yeah,
of
no, sir.
the-
Legislative
MLAs.
MLAs are part of electoral
MLAs
college.
are part, MLCs are not a part.
Not a part.
Who else are missing? Nominated members are missing.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay, sure.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Are we missing anyone else? That's it
Yes, sir.
for president. For Rajya Sabha,
For Rajya Sabha, I think local bodies are included.
local bodies are included. Vice president
Vice president?
is up nominated.
No, sir.
Or
Even
is he
vice
also
president is elected, sir.
He is also elected.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Even vice president gets elected by electoral college.
Both the houses.
Both the houses of the parliament. No MLA business. No MLC. No nominated members.
Nominated members
No
are
nominated
included.
members are there for vice president. Okay. Sure. So that is something that you have to revise for quality part. Okay. So except see the Ladakh eastern boundary issue, we'll skip. The rest of the articles we have already discussed multiple times. Is there anything new value addition that you have found in these articles? Time for India to redefine its relationship with Russia. I gave you one line. The problem is not weapons. The problem is legacy weapons. Okay. So the legacy weapons dependency is a bigger problem for India. What is the solution? Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the main questions will be in the lines of how is India promoting indigenization of weapons? We will answer by saying FDI have been opened up, more automatic routes, more percentage of automatic routes is allowed. Defense procurement has been changed. Domestic component has been increased. That means if you make a weapon in India or import a weapon in India or make something, domestically sourced goods must be certain amount of percentage. Then startups are being encouraged. Defense expos are being encouraged. So startups plus PSUs like DRDO and others will make even a better combo. So India is definitely taking strides towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. Apart from that, we also can import weapons from other countries like France, USA, Israel, who should also transfer the technology. So in this way, slowly we can decrease our dependency on Russia. Okay. Going by today's Jaishankar article, first of all, we probably won't need weapons if we maintain our diplomacy properly. So if we maintain good diplomatic relations with our neighbors, make sure that they're happy with us. So probably we will never have to fire a bullet. Okay. So like this, a multi-dimensional holistic answer can be written. So that is what he is also saying more or less. So we don't have to waste time. Next is this sealed cover drama. The maximum thing that can come is Article 22. Okay, what does Article 22 say? Preventive detention. Okay, then only that one is there under
Preventive
article.
detention, preventive detention, both.
Both are there. Okay, double jeopardy comes under 23.
20.
Double jeopardy is 20.
Yes, sir. Self-incrimination, double jeopardy,
All these are 20. 22 is
Preventive.
preventive detention and punitive detention.
okay. 23.
23, 24 are
Trafficking and
exploitation, more of it.
exploitation.
24 is children and 23 is labor,
Okay.
bonded labor.
So you have a basic idea, right? What is double jeopardy? All of you know.
Yes, sir.
What is double jeopardy?
Nobody can be punished
Twice for one
same
offense.
offense.
Nobody can be punished for the same offense twice. Okay. What are the principles of natural justice? Only that one.
Life should be treated as
Likes should be treated alike. That is principle of natural justice. Umang, you remember? Srinivas? Santosh? Yes. What is principle of natural justice? No? Did we discuss that?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Why? In which context?
Green
National Green Tribunal. Apart from that, in sealed covers area, didn't we discuss natural justice?
Yes, sir. We discussed because they have to the other party has to get a fair trial.
The media one has to know why it is being punished, right? Any sealed cover business is violating principles of natural justice in a limited sphere. See, if there is a genuine national security, the law also provides national security can be, a shield for promoting sealed cover business. But shield cover should be an exception rather than a norm. Yes, in every NIA case, UAPA case, or every case that is against the government, you cannot throw the sealed cover at the face of the government. Again, here the problem is institution. When Bobde or Gogoi were chief justices of the country, probably they entertained the sealed covers a lot. Now Ramana is not interested in entertaining sealed covers. Tomorrow some other person might come and start entertaining sealed covers. So we are not creating a institutionalized mechanism.
Yes.
So what we need is to create a institutionalized mechanism where sealed covers are an exemption and there should be some SOP, standard operating procedure. At least if not now, tomorrow, 6 months down the line or 6 years down the line, they have to be declassified and let the other party know why or what was in the sealed cover. So somebody should be there to scrutinize the sealed covers. If not today, in future also. So such kind of institutional SOP has to be created, or else it won't be a valid reason to violate fundamental rights. And fundamental rights, as all of you know, are sacrosanct. Yes or no? Now coming back to principles of natural justice, no man should be a judge of his own cause. Yes, then you cannot punish someone without
Giving a fair trial.
giving the other person a fair voice. First of all, fair trial more or less. And what is the third one? There are 3 principles of natural justice. No, only 2.
3, sir.
3 only.
And punishment accorded should be
In proportion
grounded
to the
by-
crime.
yes,
Sure.
according to law.
According
Law.
to law.
Law prescribed.
Okay. So tomorrow homework. Tell me what are the 3 principles of natural justice. Okay. Yes. Homework, Umang. Write down. I to bhul jaoge. Here you will say, sir, I forgot the homework, so I didn't do the homework. Very smart answer. No, you genuinely forgot. I genuinely want you to read. Yes. Crisis in Sri Lanka. Again, not only for us, has a very strong fundamentals. The thing here is India is more or less practicing Gujarat doctrine. We are helping a weaker neighbor for the sake of helping them. So that is how you can use this particular article, credit, line of credit and all these things, you know. And Hindu is a Tamil paper, and no matter what, the vested interest of Hindu is to bring the Tamil issue whenever the Sri Lanka topic arises. So he's talking about 2 issues. One is Tamil issue. Rehabilitation of Tamil should happen properly in Sri Lanka. The next one is motorboat issue between India and Sri Lanka in fishing matters. Okay, so India is a culprit here in relation to the fishing issue. Whereas for rehabilitation of the Tamils, we have an opportunity to mend fences with Rajapaksa government, who should help us. Okay, and to be honest, government of India is willing to build houses, lay roads, infrastructure, fund them to develop the northern part of Sri Lanka. So all these things should matter, or else it will become an emotive issue in the Tamil Nadu, which might also convert into a law and order problem, which is not good for India. So diplomatic relations affecting domestic law and order or domestic politics. This is one more example.
So why didn't we ever consider providing citizenship to them? If they are so considerable.
Again, see, the same logic applies to having a highly connected neighborhood. We have a huge number of countries with huge number of problems. Tomorrow, Uyghur Muslims might start asking that I want to go to India. Afghanistan, Hindus, Sikhs in Pakistan, Hindus in Pakistan, Buddhists in Myanmar. We cannot open the Pandora's box, right? Yes. So we have already done more or less the same thing in relation to Tibet. Okay, and even today we are facing the ramifications because of that, right? So that is why probably Indian government is not interested. And second thing, the Tamils in the north of Sri Lanka are not exactly the Tamils we think they are. Okay, they went much before the migration, right? So there are two Tamils who went into two batches of Tamil groups who went into Sri Lanka. So it's not like they want to come back. They think it's part of their land. It's like saying all the Kashmiris, why don't you rehabilitate in Noida? Why do you need Kashmir? That will defeat the entire purpose. Okay.
So any keyword like, for example, chilling effect, it implies stopping down. Now, if we start giving citizenship to Sri Lankans, then people will start asking everywhere to give citizenship.
Pandora's box, domino effect.
Domino effect.
One will start, everybody will start demanding. Domino effect, or the other one was Pandora's box. See, we don't know the ramifications, right? Okay. Here again, interviewer mains question is more in the lines of, do we need a alternative national level opposition party? Are regional parties, the weakest link in the democracy? See, I'm a regional party. I have a good number of majority than a national level party. Let's say Congress is having less votes than some other regional party. Then that regional party is the largest opposition. Do you think it will act as a proper check and balance on the government? Do we need to have a national level party which will act as a strong opposition? Yes, or a regional party is doing good job? Are regional parties doing good job?
So not necessarily that we need an alternative national
national
level party.
Okay,
It can be done
by regional
by
parties.
regional parties also, or other national level parties who have good number
See,
of
I
seats.
totally agree with your basic point of view that every region have a regional party and they are good enough to act as a check and balance on the national level party at their level. But there are some national level issues. Say for example, KCR cannot speak on, let's say, a broader theme. Or if KCR speaks on, let's say, farmers bill, it will be limited to Telangana, but it won't have a pan-India impact.
But what it can happen, like let's say, like if four chief ministers, like four parties, like Shiv Sena, here, TRS, everybody they voice their own set of problems with the national level things. So it's a
They think
collective.
it will have a same weightage. Say for example, if you ever watch Rajya Sabha TV debates or some debates, okay, TRS ministers will speak something, DMK ministers will speak something, some other parties will minister. It's not like opposition parties are not speaking in the parliament. Even the regional party have sent ministers to the parliament, their ministers are speaking something, but is it having a collective impact?
Yeah, it is for the regional parties to build consensus. But before going to parliament, they can call for an
all-party meeting and
they can build a consensus and use a strategy, and target the government policies.
Do you think that will promote stable democracy?
Yes, because they're asking government correct answers. If they're building consensus.
So I believe this can never be substitute to a strong opposition party in the parliament.
Mhm. Okay, because these people have their own fractions, they have their own issues, and they have their own vested interests.
That's not what compared to.
So this is what happened between 1980s and 2004, right? India had gone through a phase of federalism where we have regional party dominance. Regional parties were much stronger than
National level.
national parties during 1980s to 2004. So in that time, we can consider it as a dark age for India, right? No major laws were made, no major push was there, no stability, no coherence, no long-term vision. Every other party or every other person have his or her own agenda. Nobody had a unified vision. So I think we have already tested whatever I am discussing, and it has clearly failed in India because at the core, human nature does not change. Greedy, right? This we all know. Why? We also know. Okay. So my question is, when should India start changing its stand?
Independent.
When it is Atmanirbhar. Till then, is there an exit plan for Putin? For Putin, can Putin go back from Ukraine with head held high? Is there an end to Russia-Ukraine war?
The agreement is
If tomorrow after the war, the world came to know that 1,000 children in Ukraine have died because of Russia's attack, and you were silent, what will you do then?
India.
So when should we start changing our stand and take a proper stand irrespective of our this, and not make enemies out of Russians? We can make enemy out of Putin. We can afford that. We cannot afford to make enemies with Russians. So we need to find that moral line where no Russian can criticize India for taking the right stand or saying the right thing. Okay. Do we have that kind of courage? If we do that, are we joining US's camp, or are we still following strategic autonomy? Yes or no? So I think that is the burden of Indian diplomats right now. They are very severely burdened with this dilemma. Everybody clearly knows that what Russia is doing is crossing the line on multiple levels. Okay. So even today, Indian Express right now, I was just surfing the Indian Express website. 136 children or some number of children have died in Russian attack. Okay. So they are children, and there is no justification in all the world for Russia to say this is why we are killing children. You are afraid of NATO, they have nuclear weapons, they want to expand to the east. Every reason is less than killing the children. So are we still going to take that stand of strategic autonomy, or are we finally going to say something to Putin, not Russia? Yes. So no, because children have done nothing. No country deserves, no children in the world deserve to be killed for whatever the adults have done. So children are immune from all this drama. Yes, still if someone is killing them and if we are not opening our mouth, I think we are complacent in the crime. But again, we'll see how it's official will be.
Said that the best foreign policy is which aims for development. So, is that development we're talking about?
National interest first. National interest first, anything else later. And see, it is not even a doubt, right? Why? All his argument are the entire 6 points drive towards one point. That is, you do what is best for you, and you achieve everything for your own sake first. Okay. So everything you do should be for your sake. So in that way, I think it makes more sense. Yes. What is the committee's name for doubling farmers' income?
Doubling Farmers Income Committee.
Committee's name.
Swaminathan committee.
Yes.
Who is Swaminathan? Santosh? Swaminathan. Father of Green Revolution. MS Swaminathan. So, is he the head of the committee which recommended doubling farmers' income? If you have to write a mains answer 2 months from now, what will you write? Ashok? Never heard? Ashok Dalwai. Cabinet Secretary. Ashok Dalwai, the Cabinet Secretary. He is a Cabinet Secretary, Ashok Dalwai. He gave the committee report on doubling farmers' income. So, what is the average income of farmers in the country? 6,426 rupees as per NSSO reports. But latest NSSO reports are also saying it's around 10,000 rupees. Okay. So, out of that, 40% is coming from wages, 20 to 25% is coming from allied activities, only 40% is coming from core agricultural activities. So, agriculture is no longer a major source of revenue for Indian farmers. Clear? Okay. So, that's all there is to learn. What is the famous portal started by Government of India for TB? Ever read about TB? Tuberculosis. It is created by. I mean, what is the cause for TB? Bacteria, virus, which one? Asking or saying? What is the name?
Recently, I read an article on TB.
Does it rhyme with bacillus?
So it starts with T, ends with bacillus.
Okay.
Polychrome.
Okay, don't worry. Okay. The portal name is Nikshay portal. In Hindi, Kshay means TB. Okay, Kshaya Rogam. Kshay is TB. Nikshay means not having TB. So Nikshay portal is related to tuberculosis. And India has a target of elimination of tuberculosis from India by 2025. Now the next question is there a vaccine for TB? No. Srinivas, is there a vaccine for TB? Sure. No vaccine. What are the vaccines under Mission Indradhanush? Now everything changed within seconds. What is Mission Indradhanush? Immunization for children. How many vaccines? 12 vaccines. What are the names of vaccines? Homework for Monday. So read about the Mission Indradhanush and tell me whether there is a vaccine for TB under Mission Indradhanush. Okay. Clue. It also have B. It also have B. The vaccine name also have B.
Hepatitis.
Alphabet B. A for apple. B for dash. Which vaccine? You think questions will come from the sky? No, right? Questions will come from contemporary questions. Ritusha, I expect better, at least to know whether there is a vaccination for tuberculosis. Yes or no? Find out whether it's BCG vaccine or not. Okay, again, I'm not saying it's there. Again, I'm not saying it's not there. All I want you to know is find out what are the 12 names of Mission Indradhanush vaccines, what are the diseases that are being treated. Because in prelims questions will be like they will give a list of names. These diseases have been eliminated from India. These diseases are still existing in India. Next, emerging technologies. Is there a vaccine for malaria? Is there a vaccine for HIV/AIDS? Okay, is it mRNA or DNA based? Right. So, is there a vaccine for HIV? Are they developing? For malaria?
Yes, sir. In development.
Developing only. For TB? Again, same question. Tomorrow we will discuss. Okay, Tigray region. All of you know Tigray is in Ethiopia. So finally, there is a humanitarian truce. Why people are starving. Now, my problem is UNSC or UNGA is not passing same number of resolution as it has done for Ukraine. World Food Organization or World Food Program has given multiple reports saying people or children in Yemen are starving. Ethiopia are starving. Okay, probably Myanmar, Syria, yes, Afghanistan. There was a report last time also. 97% Afghanistans are hungry. So it's clear that there is a huge area in the world where people are starving or nearly starving to death. Malnourishment is going to increase, and the world is not acting on these countries. But when it comes to Ukraine, everybody is so interested to pass UNSCR, UNGA resolutions. That means there is a hypocrisy in the Western world where they're not bothered about the third world countries, but when it is just about their neighborhood, they are so bothered about. If you take the stand of human rights, you should also be worried about the children of Yemen. So what did children of Yemen do? Yes, their fathers are terrorists. Assume so. Again, I'm not saying even that is the case. The child has nothing to do with the father. So the destiny of the father is not the destiny of the child. So we have a better world. We can create a better world, but we are not creating the better worlds. As long as poverty thrives, this kind of circular violence will keep on continuing. So there is lack of clear moral will in the world. World is morally bankrupt. Yes or no? Not financially. All these problems can be solved, but we are morally bankrupt, but not financially. So that can be one line of thought.
So can it be linked to poverty anywhere as a threat to prosperity?
Prosperity everywhere. Yes, you can write that.
How, sir, like poverty anywhere is a
Threat to
prosperity everywhere.
how do you link it?
Like how poverty in Tigray region is affecting
Prosperity
elsewhere.
everywhere. So let's say Tigray is a part of Ethiopia. Okay, and Ethiopia and Tigray are supposed to be one nation. Now Tigray and Ethiopia are fighting. That violence will spill over into the neighboring areas, neighboring countries. So neighboring countries which are peaceful or prosperous are dragged into the war of these things. Okay. Second thing, Boko Haram. There are multiple terrorist organizations in Africa. Very next door to Ethiopia, there is this Horn of Somalia, okay, which is severely affected by Boko Haram. So there are Islamic ISIS branch group. Okay, so as a terrorist group, what do I need the most? Poor hungry people. All I will do is go there and say, I will give you weapon, I will give you food, join my gang. It is easy for me to radicalize them. It is easy for me to use them as I want. I can use them for trafficking. You can think of all the bad things that I can do using those people. So if a suicide bomber kills himself somewhere else, where did it start from? This. Okay. Yeah. So got the concept? Fuel retailers lost 2.25 billion revenue. Moody's anti-national reports. No?
See, Modi says our economy will grow at 12%. Then it's
So if we believe that, we have to also believe this one. Okay. Or we don't believe both. Okay.
Such reports are false. And it really doesn't affect.
That is in the context of credit rating, sovereign credit rating. Okay, not every report by Moody's can be false, right? Okay, so if Moody's or CRISIL or some other credit rating agency saying India's rating is BBB or BBB minus, okay, that might be subjective in discussion. Okay, so they may have created the entire system to favor some country. So that is subjective debate. Okay, totally accepted. Even Transparency International says India is 85 out of 180 countries in corruption. You can take all these reports with a pinch of salt. Okay, but also at the same time we have to accept why are we so bad, right? So even in this case, oil marketing companies are supposed to be totally autonomous in deciding the prices of the fuel. So for 137 days, what stopped them? Elections. They have nothing to do with elections, right? They are not the political parties. I will buy petrol irrespective of what. So that clearly shows that they are not totally autonomous. Okay, so that institutional strength is very, very essential for the country. And they just lost only 60,000 crores, more or less. 2 billion means what? 7, 7, 14. Minimum 14, 25% is up to you. Okay, so 15 to 16,000 crores have been lost by oil marketing companies. Again, the simplest trick is next year budget, Nirmala Sitharaman probably will announce that 20,000 crores will be given by budget to offset the losses of oil marketing companies. Okay, so you didn't pay at petrol bunks every day. What did you do? You paid in bulk through your taxpayers. End of the day, who is bearing the burden? You only, right? You, the citizen of the country. As simple as that. But luckily, the government will save the face. I didn't raise the petrol prices. I wiped off the losses there. So win-win scenario. Okay. But again, it should be more proactive. Oil marketing company should be proactive, right? If the petrol prices fall, they should recover the losses. If the petrol prices increase, they should also recover the losses. If the petrol prices fall, they should make the profits. Okay, so that is also a prelims question.
Somehow I feel like US is the villain in all this story because their federal bank started tapering and they're looking at the inflation in US and outside. So they've adopted a contractionary monetary policy, and now that they have their own shale gas reserves, and on one side they're encouraging war, like somehow using backside channels and letting fuel prices rise, and moreover imposing sanctions. Now that they are shielded from all these inflationary shocks with their all their energy reserves. So when all the world literally struggles with this inflation, they can peacefully concentrate on their own economic growth.
But it is heavily interconnected, right? The world is interconnected. It's not 1940s where you're on the other side of the Atlantic, you can grow peacefully. You are integrated with the global world, and the security threats you create today are the ones you are saying will come back to haunt me. If Europe is going into, let's say, inflation or spiraling crisis, it will again come back to haunt me. It's collapsing. Where is my market? Right? So I don't think it's by design. Nobody actually say that is what I say, right? We when we see newspapers or when we see the world with hindsight, we think the world is very smart. Or everybody is smart. You must be thinking, the president of America might be having the best of the advisors in the world to give the best of the suggestions. In my personal belief, I think it's all by accident. Nobody actually knows what is happening or what will happen. Everybody is playing a bounded rationality game. We thought that Putin will go to the boundary and do this bravado. When two auto drivers fight in Hyderabad, what will they do? They will tell what? Okay, and they go away. So everybody thought that is what that is what Putin will do. But actually, Putin took the first blow, and now Putin does not know how to come back. Right? Probably he's even more smarter than we give him the credit for. He's carving an entire buffer zone within the buffer zone. Okay, but again, as I said, it's easy to control certain areas where Russian population is high, but the entire other part of the Ukraine where Ukrainians are dominant, you cannot control that region by force forever. You have to come to some kind of compromise. Even the mighty China, even still today, is afraid of the Tibetans, right? So that means as long as you don't win the hearts and minds of people, you'll always have a headache. So is Putin really willing to go buy in the shopping market that I need a new headache? Yes. So I don't think America is that extraordinarily, criminal genius like Moriarty, where they have designed all these things. It's purely accident, and it will definitely come back to haunt USA. We just don't know when and how. Okay, so we should give credit where it's due. We should also take away where it's not due. And social justice, UPSC is allowing UPSC aspirants with a disability to allow for IAS, IPS, all police services, railways, DANIPS, all these things. So we'll see how it works. The state or the system always gave an excuse that there is a practical implementation issue, and IPS officer is supposed to be physically fit, so on and so forth. So that is why differently able people are not allowed into IPS, but UPS is now forced to give an opportunity. All of you know the outcome-based budgets, right? Normally, when we see types of budgets, there is zero budgeting, gender budgeting, outcome-based budgeting. What do outcome-based budgetings do?
They also say, I see this scheme. You're in 5 years.
This is the outcome that I'm expecting from this particular budget. Okay, so a specific data-driven approach should be there. That means if I am giving you this much amount of money, this is the outcome that I'm expecting. So India's complex position on Islamophobia. So India is home to one of the largest Muslim populations in the world. So according to Mr. Vivek Kaju, he argues that at least the UN permanent chair, Mr. Tirumurthy, should have acknowledged the Islamophobia or Indian point of view. The rest all is, hypocrisy of the West or China, where Uyghur Muslims are being tortured. Organization of Islamic Cooperation does not have a problem with China, but when some other country says this, they have a problem. So take it with a pinch of salt. Don't believe everything you see in the media. Everybody have a vested interest. He brings all the repeated points, but the major theme is India is asking the right question, that we need to acknowledge all religion phobias. So not only one particular country, one particular region. Any other value addition? And the different point of view between India and Europe. European countries place more weightage on individual liberty. That individual as a unit is given more importance, whereas in discussion we say we treat all religions equally. Our form of secularism is Sarvadharma Samabhava. We treat all religions equally, whereas in Europe they place individual at the heart of the entire discussion. No other major value addition as far as I see. And this is a decent article. This is a very good article, in fact, but this is not at all for prelims. Okay, this is purely for mains. You have a basic idea of what is data accessibility. This has been suggested in economic survey a few years ago, where it says government is one of the largest aggregators of data. Government collects huge amount of data, but it works in silos. That means government is not using the data optimally. It is not using the data for driving policies or making life easy. So what we can do is monetize the data, which is not important. Okay, government can monetize such data, and we need to create an architecture in and around that. That is a core thing. And people should also have trust to give that kind of data. So this article we will discuss in mains context, not at this point of time. There is no point in discussing such a decent article for prelims point of view. Okay. Yes. What is generalized system of preference? Have you heard about it?
Yes.
What is it?
In terms of trade and generalization.
Which country? USA. Sure. Does it have anything to do with free trade agreements? I do remind me in the evening around 8:30 someone, preferably you. I will share an article from Times of India. It nicely brings out how India was able to do this $400 billion trade. Not only reaching $400 billion, how we reached that $400 billion have been nicely discussed. Yes. Again, this is also mains discussion, right? Everything we discuss today will be more or less like mains. Should we bring Bharatiyatha back to Bharat? No.
Globalization, it's very hard to get.
At aftermath of globalization, it's very hard to go back to core Indian tenets. Okay. He also brings something like
Necessarily, sir.
not necessarily. You bring the discussion. I'm open for discussion.
We can take good from everywhere.
I always say that. Let knowledge come from all sides.
All
Rig
sides,
Veda.
yes.
Hmm.
So there is nothing wrong about reviving that socio-cultural rooting to socio-cultural ancient. I mean, what you basically pointing out is there is lot of
Good thing in Indian culture, we can revive it.
now there is lot of socio-cultural rootlessness among Indians. And that is not actually working in our favor. So probably bringing that.
Modern history, there is one argument, sir. When they were revivalists who were speaking about the greatness of India, one of the side effects was people, along with embracing the past, they also started to embrace the acts like sati and all. There will always the side effect that will come up when we go for revivalism.
Even that is what was pointed out by different MPs in parliaments. It was the same thing. Tamil Nadu MP, I think, was speaking that again, will you bring back Manu Dharma or what? So I don't think they are talking about different extremes. Going to.
So again, my simple question is: who will decide what is extreme? Who will decide what is balanced? Who will decide what is good? Who will bring only what is good?
I think very easy to decide what is good is if it is in with the lines of constitution.
See, I am not aware of all this constitution term. I am very ignorant in all these things. Okay, so when Draupadi was disrobed, okay, she goes to the Kaurava Sabha, the great Kaurava Sabha, where Dharmaraj, Bhishma Pitama, Dhritarashtra, all these people were there, right? Okay, then she asks a simple question: what is dharma? Okay, now in that context, who will decide what is dharma?
All people like them are silent. You are asking me
again. That is who will decide what is dharma. That is what Bharatiyata, right? Bharatiyata runs on the pillars of dharma. Okay, but as far as I have heard, I'm not sure. I'm weak again. So dharma walks on single foot in Kali Yuga. Okay, dharma walks in single foot in Kali Yuga. That is what I heard. I might be wrong. Okay, so then what is dharma? What is the meaning of dharma? In this context, who will decide what is that dharma? Okay, you used a very nice word: socio-cultural alienation of the Indians from Indianness. Okay, so who decided? Or again, so probably Vedas. Okay, or probably Ramayana or Mahabharata. There is some very wonderful things in those things. So are you also going to bring same things from Quran, Bible, or are we only going to promote Indianness? Yes. So what is Indianness? Who is a final arbitrator, final judge saying this is good things? Okay, of all the things that are there, I'm not talking about Manu Dharma. I'm at the same time not talking about Indian constitution. There is some hidden gems within Indian culture, like Rig Veda, the one line where it says, let knowledge come from all sides. For me, it's a very, very beautiful line. of all the Rig Veda, I'm willing to pick up that particular line because I have never read Rig Veda. No, you will read Rig Veda. You are a scholar or something. Okay, you say these lines are also wonderful. Okay, with the open mind, I will also accept them. Then there is a subjective line. Will that come into the discussion? I mean, will we accept it in the same lines of let knowledge come from all
Yes,
sides?
sir. Like there was an article, I think in Indian Express. It was talking about Savarkar and.
Again, see, they are all products of the core, right?
No, sir. I'm trying to bring the essence of that article. Savarkar and he was comparing other
Gandhi. We will take only the good things out of. Again, my question is, what are the good things of Gandhi?
Yes, sir. That is what we have. That article says you have to accept that in entirety. Accept personality as an entirety.
Entirety. We cannot pinpoint Gandhi. This is good Gandhi. This is bad Gandhi.
Yes.
Then you are saying entire Hinduism or Hindutva is good.
No, sir. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm saying like there are few controversial things about Savarkar and Gandhi as well. When we talk about Gandhi, they have to talk about positives and controversial things also. In a similar fashion, we have to talk about whatever the good that is in Indianness and whatever the bad things are there. And probably
so his simple argument is bringing Ashoka's pillar. Okay, bringing Ashoka pillars back into limelight is a good thing. Fine.
In that pillar, there is written, offerings to Brahmins.
Brahman again is not caste based.
Yes.
Brahmin is more about an enlightened person. So anybody can be a Brahmin. So in all the four varnas, the enlightened ones are the ones who are doing the job properly, perfectly, can be considered as Brahman. So Brahman is not about the, but is society willing to accept that?
It takes hundreds of years.
Personally, I would never go with the Vedas because women were never allowed to read them. And they have got multiple things which condemn the prosperity of women in many ways.
Men were allowed to read in early Vedic.
Gargi.
Later Vedic, it was society which.
Yes,
but I agree that there were some not so
good things about Indian history. So again,
So it's very patriarchal. If there is some brother called Satyanan Brother, if you hear the story, it's all about women trying to save her husband, doing everything from pillar to
that is dharma. That is her dharma. That is what I'm saying.
I would never accept them. And if that means going,
You are adharmic. Okay, that is what he's saying. You are cut off from the cultural, social roots of Indian culture. You are westernized. Your education has brainwashed you as a feminist. So the dharma of the Hindu wife is to think of the welfare of the husband. So what is wrong in expecting some loved one to be happy?
sir, if you go through that story,
I have gone through that story.
that story is like.
About Kannagi. You're talking about Kannagi.
Kannagi is totally different, right? She's an inspiration for LTT. You know that?
That brother, they read one story.
So again, that is what I'm saying. You are not understanding the core concept of dharma. When you understand that dharma, you will understand why they have written whatever they have written.
He says that she met a rishi. He says that cook all the prasadam and give it to everyone. She does everything to save.
Yes, blood is loud. In modern day movie, if you see, if a girl takes a bike and drives all the way to Ladakh to save her boyfriend, it is acceptable for you. Okay, because she loves him. But if someone comes and says, you cook, your husband will be okay, that is a problem. You feminists are such hypocrites. No?
what story?
Satyanarayana Swami.
It is like it's acknowledging her dignity in every point in that.
Again, it depends, right? If you ask her, okay, if it's her choice, she's happy, right? Will you be as a liberal accepting that?
Maybe
You know that she's brainwashed by patriarchy, but ultimately she is an individual with liberty. So you should also accept that if she is willing to do that, will you be okay with it? Okay, then you are not a proper liberal. Okay, the burden of liberal is to allow freedom of mistakes. Okay, again, as I said, this is not even close for. This is not even the tip of the iceberg. Okay, We can discuss a number of things, but again, there are definitely good things in all religions. It's very difficult to pick up only the good things and not ignore the bad things. For example, Buddhism and Jainism are nearly wiped out of Indian history. Who wiped it out? Again,
But in ancient history, it is given.
yes. So who wiped out,
Brahmins
the
hegemony
Buddhism and all these things from India? Even the tree, the Bodhi tree we see is not the actual Bodhi tree. It was cut down multiple times. Later, the sapling was brought. So you have to discuss that also. If you read ancient history, Vijayanagara Empire is a great empire, but Vijayanagara Empire also practiced a lot of patriarchy. Yes. So it has three kind of slave system. So are we going to read that also, or are we going to only say that Indian kings were as great as the Westerners? That means my question is simple. As an individual, if you want to learn history, are you going to read the entire history or again selective bits of Indian history? Yes, if people are so bothered about Tipu Sultan killing Hindus to protect his kingdom, you should also read about Hindu kings killing each other. As it is. See, again, neutral. I'm not taking stance. And all I'm saying is read history for the sake of reading history, not to create or write your own books. It's like, as I keep saying, Aurangzeb and Muhammad Ghazni cannot sit together and discuss and write a book about secularism. Yes or no? The book will always be, if I write a book of secularism, source A1, Aurangzeb, B, Muhammad Ghazni, then how does it exist? It is next to impossible. So if someone writes a book about how to hate Hindus, for example, okay, then the best source is Aurangzeb. Is Aurangzeb a better source? Is he even an authority that I should copy from him to write a book? Okay, so a book written by God for gods, sourcing by gods, it's not history. Yes. Okay. GSLV, what is cryogenic? Cryogenic engines work in minus temperatures. Okay. Do we need to carry a lot of liquid oxygen in cryogenic engines?
We need,
Yes,
We need a lot.
Both hydrogen and
Oxygen we need to carry for PSLV.
no, sir.
For PSLV we don't need.
PSLV there is
No need of oxygen, liquid oxygen in PSLV.
We need it for combustion, sir.
We need it for combustion. For GSLV?
GSL solid rocket
Solid.
sir. So
Okay.
it's not needed.
It's not needed. What is the difference between PSLV and GSLV?
GSLV is actually for higher, heavier and longer distances.
Homework. I need specific answers. Tomorrow, anyhow, you don't have a class. Yes, I need answers. Monday. PSLV, GSLV difference, cryogenic engines, and which engine do not need to carry a lot of oxygen. Liquid oxygen.
GSLV.
Again, find out. Okay, 12 diseases under
Indradhanush.
Mission Indradhanush, and what is the vaccine for tuberculosis and vaccine for malaria and HIV. Okay, so I want all this data. When will you submit the data? Monday.
Process has vaccine.
Okay, see you all on Monday, right?